was not. And so the starting pay for a dispatcher currently is $26,600. And comparative, I looked around just to see if we were on the same scale with the other agencies. Escambia pays $28,000, Okaloosa pays $30,700, and Walton pays $28,000. So we're about $1,500 below average on our dispatchers being paid. But I just didn't want you guys to go forward with this and then find out later that, hey, dispatcher's getting it, because I was under the wrong impression. So,
Commissioner Parker?
Yeah, I can definitely attest to having a comforting, calm voice talking to you during a stressful situation. But I'm also accountable to the 400 plus men and women here at the county that have to provide food on the table for their families. Thank God for our dispatchers. Anybody that's ever worked with me during my decade of law enforcement won't question my appreciation towards them. But I do think that I would do an injustice to my county employees, specifically those 911 operators that we house in the EOC building, as well as the other, what we could, I guess, kind of like the Pastor Isaacson has said, the term's not good, but in law enforcement we call them non-essential employees. If we were going to move forward with the pay raise on non-sworn law enforcement officers, the non-high risk, the not the people wearing the guns or dealing with the inmates, then I would totally feel comfortable moving forward with that, but only if it was with the caveat that we could go ahead and advance the pay for county employees as well. And I don't know financially that we could do that, and I don't expect staff to be able to tell me that on the spot because we haven't discussed it. I hope that that you could understand where I'm coming from, but I mean, I don't know how I can look at the men and women working basically in a similar position, answering the 911 calls and tell them that.
Right, and I don't know currently what they get paid. I don't know if it's the same as our dispatchers, less or more.
I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't either.
I don't think I can say specifically. At one time, earlier in the year, ours were a little less. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, we'd have to check into that, but I know they're not more. I think at one point we were just a little under.
And again, I know it would be substantial if you looked at every county employee, but I've said it. I don't know if I've said it in public here from the board, but I know we've talked, and just like the man out there that I saw working on the ditch this morning on Hamilton Bridge on my way in, or the fellow out there running the cultipacker on the dump. I mean, I can sit here and justify, hey, we've got to get deputy retention and recruitment, and we're asking these guys to go deal with people that most of the time folks are calling 911 because they don't want to deal with it. But I just don't know how I can look at the 400 plus county employees and tell them they're not getting a raise, but non-sworn are. And so before I felt comfortable supporting that, I would need Jane and Dan and Tony to look and say, could we advance all county employees' merit raise across the board for this year early? If that was the case and it wouldn't put us in a bind, I would love to do that for every county employee. But if we couldn't, I just don't know how that's prudent to the men and women that depend on us for their paycheck.
Right, and that's why I'm here today. I could have just said, oh, yeah, don't worry about it, but I don't want to get this passed under false pretenses by any stretch of the imagination. But I did want to let you know the statistics that we're dealing with, too. Since 2015, we've hired 21 dispatchers. 17 of the 21 did not make it through training. And we've lost 19 dispatchers in the same time period for better pay or taking other jobs. So it's not, but I understand where you're coming from.
I want to give them a pay raise, and I appreciate and respect you tremendously, as you know, and this is one more reason why I respect you so much for bringing this forward, and I'd love to give them a pay raise, but I just need to hear from staff, and again, I don't expect them to be able to tell me this figure on the spot.